Welcome to In the Dugout. I'm host Bill Greiner, and I'm joined today by New Hampshire Fisher Cats coach Bobby Meachem. Welcome, Bobby.
Thanks, Bill.
So, Bobby, you played 6 years of your Major League Baseball career with the New York Yankees. Tell us what it was like for you to play for the Yankees and play in Major League Baseball.
Oh, it's a dream come true to play big league baseball. Every kid, I think, wants to play in the major leagues, and I got that opportunity once I got traded from the St. Louis Cardinals organization to the Yankees, and impressed some people in spring training and got a shot at playing in New York. And I loved those years I had there in New York, and always cherish them.
Now, you came a route that not everybody comes, and that is you were drafted by the White Sox originally, and instead of going to play professional baseball right away, you chose the college route. Not everybody does that. What was in your mind at that point in time to lead you down that path, and do you think that was the right thing for you to do?
Well, both my parents were teachers, so that helped a little bit. They stressed the importance of education in my family's life, my brother and myself, and so I kind of knew if I wasn't overwhelmed with an offer out of high school to play professional baseball, that I would go to college and go further my studies there, and just make sure I had a little bit of a cushion in case my future in baseball wasn't too good. So that was the best decision I made. I had a great time in college. My mom was very wise in making sure that I got to college, and I had a great time, and also boosted my value as a player, going from 14th round out of high school to the first round out of college.
You don't see a lot of kids take that route these days, or are you seeing more of that? And if somebody came to you and asked you for your advice as they were making that decision, what would you tell them?
Well, my advice would be to go to college, unless the money was so much that they couldn't turn it down. I would set a price on that. My advice would be basically what my mom gave me, that same advice of, is it really worth it to sign out of high school, and you're going to miss college education? You could miss just the lifestyle of a college student, just a great time with your friends and being associated with college athletics, or would you rather spend go right to work out of high school? And so basically what we did as a family is we decided that if it wasn't worth it to go, in other words, if the signing bonus wasn't high enough, let's go to college, and let's just kind of look forward to playing baseball maybe after 3 or 4 years of college.
And Bobby, do you have a moment that stands out in your mind as your favorite moment, or one of your favorite moments when you were a Yankee?
Well, yeah, there was a couple. I mean, my favorite was basically getting to go to big league spring training for the first time with the New York Yankees. After being traded from the Cardinals, I was an A-ball the year before, so I got to all of a sudden show up in Fort Lauderdale spring training with just superstars all around me, from Ron Guidry to Dave Righetti and Dave Winfield, and it was just amazing to see those guys that I'd watched play on TV just a couple years earlier. Now I'm in the same spring training complex with them, and also one of the biggest things too as a player was to be actually at the game. I didn't play the game, but at the game where Dave Righetti threw his no-hitter on 4th of July. Back in the early '80s against the Red Sox, and that was both nerve-wracking and fun. So that was a great experience for me, and like I said, I love playing for the Yankees, and being a part of that tradition was pretty special.
And after your baseball career ended, you made a pretty quick transition into coaching. Not everybody has a quick transition from one field to another. Is that something that was you thought about for a while, being a coach? Is it something that kind of came, when it came, and was it right place, right time?
Basically, the right place, right time. Bill, I didn't even have a inkling I was going to coach at all. I was basically thinking I'm just going to keep playing until they take the uniform off me, and then we'll probably go back to school, finish up school, and become a teacher and a coach like my dad was, back in high school or something like that. But what happened was just right place, right time. I got released, and I didn't have a job, and I had rented out my house. My wife and I rented our house for the season, and we had nowhere to go. So it was basically either find another job in baseball for the summer, or stay with my dad for a couple months, and we didn't want to do that. So basically, we just said, field some offers. I tried to get jobs as a player. Nobody wanted to let me play anymore. But a couple teams wanted me to coach, and that's when I started my coaching career with the Eugene Emeralds for the Royals in the Northwest League, and I came out of that summer really liking coaching, really enjoyed the teaching aspect of it all, and just kind of basically followed my parents' footsteps and became a teacher, this time on the baseball field instead of the classroom.
Now, Bobby, you have ended up here in New Hampshire coaching the AA affiliate for the Toronto Blue Jays, the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. Take us, from when you first started coaching, with Kansas City in that organization to where you are today. So, kind of take us through your roadmap of where you've come.
Wow, that's a long map. I know. From 1991, when I was that first coaching job I got up there, till now, it's just been a lot of. I've coached at every level. I've managed at every level. I got the chance to kind of work with some young players when I first started out, and got quickly to Double A. In 1994, I managed the Double A team for the Pirates. In '95, I managed the Triple A team for the Pirates, and thought I was on my fast track way to the big leagues as a manager, but. Just hasn't worked out, Bill. I didn't get to the big leagues until 2006 as a coach for Joe Girardi with the Marlins. Coached with him in Miami, and also coached with him in New York in 2008. And had a couple other coaching stops. 2007 with the Padres with Buddy Black, and a 3-year stint with the Houston Astros with Brad Mills as the manager. So I'm back here in the minor leagues again, doing what I love to do, manage. Hopefully as I continue to manage here in the minor leagues, here with the Fisher Cats right now, but hopefully it'll lead to something better, and hopefully it'll lead to one day managing in the big leagues. Who knows when that'll be, but I'm hoping that's what'll happen as we move on my coaching / managing career, and we'll see how it turns out.
And Bobby, how much interaction do you have or dialogue with the folks up in Toronto or folks in AAA about some of the guys that are here, some of the things that you're seeing happen as these kids are developing? I mean, that's really your job is to get these guys going. What kind of interaction do you have, and what do you look for from those guys support-wise?
Yeah, we talk quite a bit with front office people, Charlie Wilson and Doug Davis. I talk quite a bit with them, just about how the development of these players is going. We've had a few guys come through and go on their way to AAA. Even a couple got to the big leagues from the beginning of this season. Brad Glenn comes to mind. He was one of our outfielders to start the season. Now he's in the big leagues. Aaron Sanchez, who started the season here as one of our pitchers, he's now in Buffalo, kind of knocking on the door, so to speak, of the big leagues. So we kind of keep the dialogue back and forth, just conversation, how players are doing, how if they're doing as expected, do they need to stay here, do they need to move up, do they need to move down. So there's always always conversation going on between myself and the front office, trying to do what's best for for not only the player, but especially for this organization.
And as far as the team goes and motivating the team, there was a stretch in mid-May where you seemed to struggle a little bit as a team, didn't get very many wins. How do you remotivate the team? What are adjustments that you need to make to get them winning again? And obviously, as of late, that seems to be working.
Yeah, I think we won like 9 games in May, Bill, and that was a tough month. We went through an 11-game losing streak, and I think 9 of those losses came with were just a 1-run losses, and so those are really tough. So, but these guys, I saw them in April. Got to know them a little bit in spring training, and in April we kind of figured out this is a tough group of guys. I love the character of the team of these players. I knew they'd bounce back, and that's what we've done. In June, we played pretty well. We've done a good job of kind of refocusing, kind of moving past the negatives of May, and getting into this month playing not only good baseball, but playing good baseball as a team and for each other. Now we win or lose as a team, whereas in May it was kind of like every man for himself for a little bit, but the guys have regrouped. Like I said, the character of them has shined through, so to speak, and they're ready to keep going the rest of the season. We got 2 full months to go, and we'll see how it turns out in the end.
Tell us a little bit about Daniel Norris. He's a prospect that's here, just came up here, had 1 game under his belt. What do you expect from him? What have you seen in the brief time that he's been here, and what are your expectations?
Well, we've seen Daniel for a couple of starts now, and it reminds me exactly. I saw him last year, just one appearance with me in Dunedin when I was managing down there in A-ball, and I thought, wow, this guy's got some talent. He has a good arm. He throws in the mid-90s. But most of all, his character is what stands out. He's just a guy who goes out there every day, not only when he's pitching that day, but every day he works his butt off. He works hard at his craft. He wants to be precise out there, and he knows, almost like a young kid like that, to know that's what he needs to do to be a big leaguer, and it's fun to watch him prepare himself to pitch, and it's fun, especially game day when he's competing. He's a true competitor out there. It's fun to watch guys that know they're good and want to be the best, and that's what he looks like when I see him go out there and take the mound every 5th day.
And what do you look for as far as pitch count? Is that the most important thing you're looking at with a pitcher, or is that more important to you at this stage than having somebody complete a game or getting close to completing a game?
Pitch count's important the people, I call them the geniuses. They know, and they know they know what's going to happen. I guess when he's got a pitch count. You know, most pitchers it's right around 100, and I always joke around when they get 101, is their arm blow up or what happens? But no, the pitch count to me is just another number. I look at how they're doing. You know, if they're getting tired, you can tell the ball's coming up a little bit. The ball's not coming out of their hand as well. If they're getting tired or something wrong with them with their mechanics, that's something start to break down and they start to get hit. That's usually what happens. So I kind of watch for things like that. I talk to my pitching coach and making sure we're on the same page, so we can kind of be careful with these guys and making sure that they're not only healthy as they're pitching, but they're pitching well, well enough to continue on. So the pitch count is. I don't know. It's not a real favorite of mine, but you know, I just like to watch these guys pitch, watch them play, and hopefully get them through their starts healthy and actually getting better each time they go out there.
And is there anybody else on the team that right now that's kind of catching your eye as someone who's developing where they should be, or maybe even a little bit better than expectations were, that has a shot at getting a call up here, maybe not in the near term, but at some point in the not too distant future?
Well, that's the fun part of my job, is to kind of watch guys get better. And you know, I had a couple of these guys, quite a few of these guys last year, and I've been able to see a guy like Jonathan Birdie, second baseman, how much he improves every single day. And it's kind of like with Norris. You watch them prepare the way he does, and you can tell why he's going to get better every day. You just continue to watch and continue to see how his preparation flows into the game, and he becomes a better player. Another guy's Derek Chung, who's just joined us recently, one of our catchers, and he, I guess 2 years ago wasn't even catching much at all, and now he's one of our favorites as far as a catcher in this organization. The way he defensively is back there, he's been tremendous. He was really good for me last year, and I've seen him last couple weeks since he's gotten here do it really well. So, you know, guys like that, and there's several more, but guys like that come right to mind because I had them last year, and so I'm they're kind of favorites of mine to watch, keep growing, keep getting better, continue to progress, and hopefully one day get to the big leagues.
And you've got a couple more months, as you said, left in the season here, and then it's the off season. How much of the off season is really off season for you? You know, where you're really not thinking about baseball at all. You're doing your own thing, and how much time do you have before you have to focus back on next year?
Well, off seasons are great, Bill. They truly are off seasons for me now. You know, my kids are all grown up and out of the house, and so I get to go visit them. There's a couple in California. There's my youngest daughter. She lives right around the block from me, but she's got a couple grandkids I love to see. So, so I love seeing my grandkids. I love going out to visit my kids in California, spending a lot of extra time with my wife, and just just doing things around the house I don't get to do because I'm away for so long. So my off seasons are pretty much off seasons until we get back into the new year. Then I start thinking again about focusing on the season again in maybe January, right around there sometime.
Personal question for you. You know, Tony Gwynn, someone that you've known for a long time, recently passed away. Meant a lot for the game of baseball. I think he had a very good relationship with you going way back. Talk about what his contributions were to baseball and how he's going to be missed by not just yourself but the baseball community.
Yeah, Tony was great. I mean, I know Tony since I was in high school. We used to joke around when we saw him play center field in summer ball in high school and Blair Field in Long Beach, and he looked like Mickey Rivers out there. He was a great player back then. I didn't even know he was a basketball player until I went to San Diego State and realized, he wasn't even playing baseball. He was on the basketball team there on scholarship. And I was like, wow, we got to get this guy to play baseball. And it just worked out that he got to play and became one of the greatest hitters that ever was in the Hall of Fame, obviously. It's just what a great guy. Not only a great baseball player, but he's going to be sorely missed because of what a great guy he was. I just remember every time I think of Tony, I think of him just chuckling. He'd always have something fun to say, have a good time around the ballpark, and he'd be laughing and smiling. And he's going to be really missed. Boy, what a great hitter, but a great guy.
And last question for you. I know you had dreams when you were growing up about one day playing in the big leagues, and that dream came true. What advice do you give to kids that are 6, 7, 8 years old, like to play baseball, and have that same dream that you have?
Well, the first and foremost, Bill, is have fun. Whatever you do as a kid, you don't want to. I've seen it with my kid, my son, who's 24 now. I saw him grow up with friends that they were just, their parents really wanted them to just do really well, and just, instead of have fun at what they do. And baseball is just a game. It's if you don't have fun at it, it's just not worth playing that game and worth striving for that dream. It's got to be fun for them. So, my advice is to, whatever it is, baseball, soccer, basketball, football, whatever it is, once you get out of the classroom, go out and have some fun, go out and play, run around and enjoy your friends while you're having fun playing that game. And it's obviously after a while you get to know whether you're good enough to maybe advance to the next level and the next level and hopefully a professional level. But in the midst of it all, you got to have fun. You got to enjoy your friends while you're doing it, and enjoy yourself as you go out there and enjoy the game.
Well, great. Well, thanks for taking the time out today with Bobby. We wish you the best of luck the rest of this season and with whatever the future holds.
Thank you very much, Bill.
We're now joined by New Hampshire Fisher Cats pitcher Daniel Norris. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you.
So, Daniel, tell us what it was like for you growing up playing baseball as a kid, and when you started having that dream or that sense that maybe you could make a run at playing professionally.
Yeah, I mean, just growing up, it was something I was always doing. I'm not really sure how I got into baseball because my parents or sisters, nobody really played any sports, but I guess I was just kind of born with a passion for the game. So, every day I was out there just playing in the front yard, and then I'd play affiliated ball throughout and stuff like that. But yeah, it was fun.
And tell us what it was like when you ended up becoming drafted. Was that something that you anticipated as you got a little older and closer to that age? Something that came as a surprise to you?
I didn't, in high school and stuff, when I was younger, I would always just dream about playing at this small college, at our in my hometown. Obviously, I dreamed of being a Major League Baseball player, but this was man, I just want to get here, and stuff. But then, as I got closer to, graduating out of high school, scouts started coming around and people and talking and stuff. And so I started realizing that, I had a chance to get drafted. So it was something I guess I anticipated. And, as I gained more knowledge about how it worked and stuff, I came to, realize that it was a possibility.
What are some of the things that go through your mind, as you're, you get drafted, you're at that level, and you've got to make decisions where you decide, I'm going to go the professional route right away versus going to college route. What are some of the things that go through your mind and lead you to that decision?
Yeah, I mean, as I got closer to the draft and all that stuff, in the back of my mind and in my heart, I knew I wanted to play pro ball, so it was kind of an easy decision for me. But even after I got drafted, I was committed to Clemson. I'd signed a letter of intent to Clemson, and even after I got drafted, I still felt, it took a while to make the decision just because of the way sometimes the draft stuff works. But, I think in the back of my mind, I always knew I wanted to sign, play pro ball. And, at the end of the day, that's what I was gonna do no matter what.
Now, you've just come to Manchester in New Hampshire, a short time ago, came from the Florida State League. What are the biggest differences that you've noticed in your short time here in terms of the play at this level versus where you were, from the pitching perspective, and also, when you're facing hitters? What do you see the biggest differences being?
Yeah, the hitters are they're older and they have a better approach. They have more of a plan of what they want to do at the plate. I guess they're not as much free swingers as you would say, but I like that. It makes me have to throw strikes, and so I've definitely noticed that as a difference. The game's a bit cleaner, not as many mistakes mentally or physically and stuff. Obviously stuff's gonna happen, but definitely it's a step up, something you would expect. It's a little bit better ball, and I was really excited for the opportunity. And so far, I've been pleased with everything that's been around here. It's just, like I said, it's just a step up.
And talk to us about your pitching style and your pitches. What's your go-to pitch, and kind of what's your repertoire of pitches? What do you have that you will go to on a regular basis?
Yeah. Well, I throw a fastball, changeup, slider, and curveball. I guess I primarily pitch off my fastball to get ahead, and then the other three off-speed pitches are, any one of them can be my out pitch any given night. And I don't say that in a boastful way. It's just whatever I have a feel for that night, really. And sometimes I have a feel for all of them, and that's when it's when pitching is fun. But no, yeah, I think I primarily pitch on my fastball. That's been that's my go-to.
What's the speed difference between your fastball when it's really on and your slowest pitch in terms of the difference and obviously confusing the batters?
Well, I guess this year so far I've been up to 97 with my fastball, and then my curveball is usually anywhere from like 72 to 76, I guess. So anywhere around there.
And as far as the count goes, when you're ahead of the count, how does that affect your strategy to kind of finish the batter off? And then when you get behind in the count, what are things that you have to do to get back on the game?
Well, when you're ahead in the count, I look at it as a way you've earned the right to strike the guy out. So then you try and put him away with one of your out pitches. But if you're behind in the count, it's like you have to get back to 2 strikes if you wanna strike him out. So you have to really spot up and make him. You can't let him you don't want to throw it right in the middle because they're in a fastball count. So it's like you got to work harder to get back into the 2-strike count with that. But yeah.
And there were some stretches in the 2012 season, and then even last year where you had some struggle. You gave up some runs, on a consistent basis, and it just seemed things maybe weren't going your way. But then you worked through that. How do you end up working through a period like that to get where you need to be? And then how do you end up leaving a bad game? Let's just say it's one bad game. How do you leave that in the past and focus on the next one?
Well, looking back on 2012 and the first part of last year, I'm actually really thankful for it. It's one of those things you call a blessing in disguise, So it's like I really went through some tough times throwing the baseball and, finally getting out of it. Nowadays, obviously, I'm not oblivious. Like everything, there's going to be more bad outings, but I know how to deal with it now. I know how to, bounce back after a bad outing because I dealt with it every outing for my first year and then a little bit of last year. So, like I said, that was kind of a blessing in disguise. But really, the pitching coaches and all the coaches in the Blue Jays organization have just stayed so patient with me, and they told me it's just one day it's going to click, it's going to be good. But they never gave up on me, which is I'm very thankful of. Obviously, they're just they helped me get through mechanical issues, and then mentally it was just a matter of having confidence out there. I never went out there doubting myself. It was just sometimes I just didn't trust my stuff. I was kind of nitpicking around the zone, walking guys, and now I just go right after guys and say, hey, here's my best stuff. If you hit it, then cheers. But if not, then it's good.
Your last couple outings have been good. Certainly, the organization seems to be, feeling pretty good about the call up. And how do you feel? Again, having gotten the call up, pitching the way you have the last couple of times from a confidence perspective, and again, how are you going to approach your next game in a couple of days?
Yeah, I'm very thankful for the opportunity. Obviously, I was happy being in the Florida State League. It was a step up from last year, and then. The call up to Double-A was kind of a surprise, but I was very, very thankful for the opportunity. Like I said, but yeah, first 2 outings have gone pretty well up here, and it's just going after guys. And everybody I talked to before I came up there, like, hey, like, hired at Double-A is the biggest jump like you're gonna deal with, but just don't change anything. Whatever you had success with down there, just take it up here and let it play. And so that's what I did. I didn't feel the need to change anything. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to be way better on the corners and stuff like that. It was just no, I'm going to trust what I've been doing, what the work I've put in, and see if it plays.
What is a typical game day like for you when you're pitching? So if you're going to pitch on a certain day or certain night, what are you doing that day?
Yeah, well, I think preparation starts. There's preparation for the next start every day. So I'm doing my workouts and all that stuff and keeping my body in tune, but. The day before my start, each night I usually try and go out and get a nice meal in me. I eat fish every day, and I usually I eat salmon before I pitch, and then I'm always drinking a lot of water. That's the main thing. And just hydration is very key. No matter, even if it's cold, like you got to be hydrated. So, I try to stay hydrated. So I'm drinking a lot of water, and then the day of my start, I wake up really early in the mornings, around 7. So I'll get up and have some coffee, do some reading and stuff. I like to read and write, and so I'll do that and just kind of relax, and then go get some breakfast, come back, hang out a little bit. Usually try to take a bit of a nap before I head to the field, just to kind of recharge my batteries, and then at lunch that day will also be salmon, wherever I can find it, and then get to the field and just kind of hang out. And I'm definitely locked in on start days, but I'm not the guy that you can't approach. I don't feel that's necessary. you're still part of the team. And I look at it as an aspect of, you've got fielders, they're playing every day. It's not like, they're not uptight every single day. So it's like, why would you want to change everything for one day? You obviously be locked in, be focused, and mentally prepared. But for me personally, I don't see a need in just like sitting in my locker with, my shirts over my head. Nobody can talk to me and stuff. But once it is time to start my pregame routine, around 6 o'clock, I put my headphones in and kind of get locked in. But I think if you're uptight all day, you start getting that's causing too much unwanted stress of just staying away from everyone.
Is there much of an adjustment when you come to a new organization for you, like the Fisher Cats, and you've got a new catcher? I mean, obviously there's a bond between a pitcher and a catcher. What's it like when you're making a change like that? And then how do you and your catcher, what kind of preparations do you make for a game in terms of going through a lineup and your strategy before things get started?
Oh, sure. Actually, Chung, our catcher right here, he was with me in the Florida State League, so we both got called up on the same day, which was really nice. Me and him are just on the same page. I can't really put it into better words. Like, we just agree on everything, and he's unbelievable behind the plate. His reflex, he's just really good, and so it's really awesome to have him behind the plate, calling my game mentally, and then behind the plate receiving. He does a really good job back there, and so it's obviously great to have him. It's a privilege to have him behind the plate, and I have no doubt he's going to be a big leaguer one day. So, but yeah, it's really good to be on the same page as your catcher. I joke with him sometimes. I'm like, every time I shake you off, I give up a hit, so I'm never going to shake you off again. But yeah, he's really good.
What are some of the dialogue that you would have with him when he comes out to the mound to settle you down? Is it talking about what you just did, or talking about the next thing you're going to do?
Nah, it's nothing about the game. Usually with Chung, he just comes out there. If he sees me getting quick on my delivery, he'll come out and he'll just hey, you need to slow down, and then he'll just bring up something random. That's just Chung. He's relaxed. He's funny. He's goofy. It's just he's a good dude, but he usually tries to keep it loose during the game, which is awesome. I really like that, and he's just he's good. He just comes out there, doesn't want me to, I get too antsy out there. It's just hey, relax, trust your stuff, do it. So he's pretty good.
As far as strike zones go, I mean, that's obviously an arbitrary thing, and it varies umpire to umpire. How do you make adjustments like that when a guy is maybe giving you a little bit less room over the plate than you might have had, the last start? Does it change the way you throw certain pitches, or you just, just your whole game that way?
No, I mean, you definitely have to adjust to it. Like, if you're a guy trying to live at the knees and he's not calling it, then you don't want to keep going to a dry well, You have to make an adjustment, but not to the extent where you're just giving in to the hitter. For me, you don't want to pitch to an umpire. You want to pitch to the hitter. You want to miss their bat. But at the same time, if you're trying to get ahead of a guy, you do need to know the strike zone and do need to make adjustments to it. So it definitely varies game to game, and it's the unknown. You never know what it's going to be like. Even the same guy, if you have him 2 starts in a row, it might be different. It's just a matter of what he's going to call that day. So you have to stay focused and kind of, feel it out for first inning or so, and then get locked in where he's at and do that.
What are you doing in a typical off season, and how long is your off season for you?
It's usually, I guess, 3-4 months, and for me, I work out every day, and then the past 2 off seasons I've worked at Outdoor Store back home in Tennessee. It's like hiking, rock climbing, kayaking, stuff like that. I really enjoy the outdoors, so that's what I work there, and it's a retail store and keeps me busy. But yeah, I work out every day, either before or after work, and then go to work and enjoy that. Good people to work with out there, and so yeah, that's usually it.
And what advice would you give to kids that are, watching this, that have seen you and they've kind of heard your story, and they've got that desire to play professionally? What would you tell them to do, and are there any things that you would tell them to not do based on what your experience has been?
Yeah, I mean, you never listen to people when they tell you can't do it. I remember in high school and even younger, people are like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, a Major League Baseball player. And they're like, oh, come on, you got to understand the chances of that. Like, it's 1 in a million. And I was like, I don't care. And they're just like, no, you really need to, think about something else to do. And I was like, I promise you I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player. And it's just not taking no for an answer like that. Like, it's sad to see that, and some kids can be very discouraged. But it's just, if it's kind of cliche, and it's kind of like a movie quote, but like follow your heart. If that's what you want to do, then do it, and no matter what it takes, you just got to make it happen. And that's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at everything. If you just gotta, if it's something you desire, then make it happen. Don't just give up and roll over. It's like, oh, it's not gonna happen, I'll choose something else. No, I mean, if you're have it convicted in your heart, then this is you're set on, then you got to go to every possible length to get there. So.
Well, good. Well, thanks for taking the time out today with us, Daniel. We appreciate it. We wish you best of luck this season and in your future.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.